Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience, and tonight I'm here with the Kennerton Thror. That's Thror. And this is Kennerton's relatively new flagship headphone. I think it was introduced almost a year ago, and it hit shows maybe 6 months ago, but they've only really been out to the public a couple months now. And I managed to get a hold of a pair to show you, and tonight I'm going to give you my first impressions. I've had these for about 5 days now, and I have put quite a few hours in on them since I got them. Probably, I would say easily 20, maybe 25 hours in on them. The truth is, I just can't stop listening to them. I've gone a couple nights where I've only got about 3 hours of sleep, because I just keep wanting to try different music with these and listen to everything I can. So anyway, the first thing that, this is my first impression, so I'm going to tell you what I thought of these at first. The very first thing is, like any Kennerton headphone I've seen, and I had the Valley for a while now, it's sitting behind me back here. But anyway, just absolutely beautiful headphone. I just love the combination of wood and leather and aluminum, the way Kennerton builds their headphones. And I mean, the build quality is just outstanding. I mean, no matter how close you look at these, I can't find a flaw. I mean, there isn't a stitch out of place in the leather. There's not a flaw in the wood. I mean, just a beautiful looking headphone. This pair in particular is made of zebrano wood. You can see the grain in it. Beautiful in my opinion. These have the grill, which the Thror has a distinctive grill. You basically can see the T in the shape of the grill, which tells you that this is a Thror and not an Odin. But anyway, this one actually has a matte black finish to the grill with no shine on it, and everything else, the yokes are aluminum like the other Kennertons. These are in a sort of a, not really a flat black, sort of a semi-gloss black, but anyway, the leather is all in black on these. And something I wanted to point out that I noticed compared to the Valley, that the inner strap on the headband is a little bit wider, which helps with the comfort a little bit. And the ear pads, of course, are lambskin leather, like on the Valleys. And what I didn't know until I received these is, because of the flange having a little bit of a flare on it, compared to the Valleys, it actually makes the ear cuffs bigger in diameter, which also in turn makes the ear pads a little bit bigger in diameter and makes the inside opening larger, which gives my ears more room. The Valleys actually tend to touch the top of my ears and sort of, I can feel them around my ears, where these have more room and are actually more comfortable to me, so that's a happy surprise to me. The weight of these is actually, they look like they could be a heavy headphone, but the weight is actually not bad at all. Kennerton claims a 480 grams, which is actually 60 grams lighter than the 520 gram Valley, or about 100 grams lighter than the new Odin. And I guess the older Odin was about 680 grams, so 200 grams heavier than these. So the weight of these is really not bad at all. I've never had a problem with comfort on the Valley, and I've had a Valley for about probably 4 months now, and it's been my primary headphone during that entire time. I've loved the Valley. Listened to it, I would say it every day, hardly ever miss a day. And comfort's never been an issue with me as far as the Valley's concerned. A little bit heavy, but the way it's designed, I really like the comfort. And this has the same adjustment on it as the Valley. You unscrew this, you can slide the yoke up or down. And then what I really like is you can twist it, you can rotate it front to back, which can change the pressure from either, more or less on the front and more or less on the back, which gives you a real good seal around your ear. And with me, I don't like too much pressure in front of my ears. It tends to aggravate the joint on my jaw after a while. So I really like that feature on the Kennerton headphones. Anyway, as far as comfort, I have absolutely no issues with this. The weight is not an issue. The headband distributes the weight real good. They're comfortable on my head. I can wear these for hours. I've probably gone as many as 4 or 5 hours with these on with no comfort issue at all. So weight isn't an issue, and just really like the way they feel. Anyway, the cable that comes with these, well, let me show you this first. The Kennerton comes in this beautiful wooden box. I mean, this is real wood. Has sort of a satin lining to it. Anyway, this is what they come in. And this here is the cable that comes standard with the Thror. It's a single-ended 1/4-inch plug. And it's kind of a new design for Kennerton. It's a softer, more flexible cable than what came on the Valley. And the Valley also came with a 3.5 millimeter with an adapter to 6.3. And this isn't that way. It doesn't have an adapter. It just comes with the standard 1/4-inch single-ended plug, which eliminates the adapter and any chance of, a bad connection. The connectors on the headphone end are mini XLR 4-pin plugs, which I believe is similar to what Odyssey uses, and it's the same that was used on the Kennerton Valley. For my testing, I've been using, this is also a Kennerton cable, but it's a 4-pin XLR and more of a deluxe cable. But anyway, this is what I've been using for my testing on the headphone, because I am using the Audio GD Master 9, and I'm not sure if the cable really makes a difference in the sound going from balanced to single-ended, but I know my Audio GD Master 9 definitely sounds better from its balanced outputs. It's designed as a balanced amp, and it just works better that way. I'm not saying balance is necessarily better. I'm sure that there are very good single-ended amps out there, but if an amp is designed as balanced, I believe it's best to use a balanced output if you can. Anyway, as far as the headphone, it is a planar type headphone with a planar membrane. It's 80 millimeters in diameter, the diaphragm. These have an impedance of 42 ohms and a sensitivity of 100 decibels at 1 milliwatt. So it's a pretty efficient headphone. It doesn't take a lot of power to drive. The Valley is a little more efficient. It's actually a very efficient headphone. This is slightly less efficient. When I'm using my Master 9 on low gain, the Valley's at a comfortable listening level at about 32 out of 100 steps on the volume. And where the Valley would be at 32, these would be at about 44 to get the same volume. So it's a little less efficient than the Valley, but it's still quite a bit more efficient than, say, the Hi-Fi Man Sundara, or especially the Hi-Fi Man HE560, which on low gain I would be at about probably 65 or 70 on the volume knob to get the same volume. So pretty efficient headphone. So anyway, I'm going to get to my first impressions on the sound, but first I want to tell you what equipment I used to test this. I I'm starting out with a Cambridge Audio 540C CD player, which I'm using as a transport only, then going into a Benchmark Media DAC1 to do my digital to analog conversion, and then from there I'm routing it with balance cables to the Audio GD Master 9, and I'm also making a second run with single-ended cables through the Loki that I can do tone adjustment with, and then that into the Master 9 also. And the Master 9 is set up where it will convert a single-ended input into a balanced output, so that works out very good. I can test headphones either, straight through balanced all the way, or go through the Loki and give them a little bit of tone adjustment and see what that does. So anyway, as far as my first impressions on the sound, the very first thing that I noticed that just jumped out at me was the clarity and the detail. The clarity and detail is just incredible on these headphones. I mean, it's like looking through a clean window for the first time. It's the clarity is just to the point. It's almost undescribable, really. I mean, I will admit, this is my first, what I would call top shelf headphone. I mean, most of the headphones I've listened to and reviewed up to this point would be considered mid-fi compared to this. So, it's outstanding compared to those, but I am going to hold off on doing a full review on these for a while for a couple reasons. Number one is I feel I'm not really qualified yet to do a review on these because I don't have the background of hearing, other headphones in the same price range. And that comes down to my second reason also, is I don't have anything to do a fair comparison with these right now. Other headphones I have are, a lot less expensive and not in the same price range as this. So I'm going to hold off. I've definitely got the amp. The Master 9 should be more than efficient, or more than sufficient to do a review on these. But like I said, I want to wait until I get at least one more pair of headphones in this same price range before I try to do a full review on these. Anyway, but after clarity and detail, the next thing I noticed is the tone balance on these, which in my opinion is a very well balanced tone, all the way from the sub bass to the treble. Compared to the Valley, they have a little bit less impact and a little less punch in the mid bass, but I believe that these go deeper into the sub bass. As far as the top end, they definitely have more treble presence than the Valley. The Valley, in my opinion, was just a little slightly too rolled off in the treble, and I sometimes like to boost the treble about 2 or 3 decibels on the Valley, where these, in my opinion, the treble is just perfect on these, just at a perfect level, very present, but never to the point of being harsh or, overwhelming at all. So anyway, very good sub bass extension, not a whole lot of slam in the mid bass, but very well balanced. The next thing I noticed about the tone or the sound of these headphones is it just sounded so three-dimensional to me, just multiple layers in the sound, more so than any other headphone I've heard. It's just, it's hard to describe, and it's another reason I probably need to put a lot of time on these before I can do a full review, because some of the things I'm hearing are just hard to describe, but I'm just hearing the sound in so many distinct layers around me that it just has more of a three-dimensional sound than anything I've ever heard. And that, I think, is part of the reason that when I put these on and listen to them, I just, so much more so than any headphone I've heard, I have this feeling of being there. Like, I'm not listening to recording, but I'm sitting in the front row of a concert or, a show where I just feel like I'm right there surrounded by the music. And I've never had another headphone come anywhere close to giving me that same feeling. Like I said earlier, the Kennerton Valley has been my primary headphone for the last probably 3 or 4 months. And I love the headphone, but comparing the two, I would say if the Valley was comparable to Blu-ray, the Thror is like going to 4K. It's that much difference. Just everything is sharper and more defined and more separated. And like I said, I mean, it's like going from Blu-ray to 4K. Something else I noticed is how the vocals just really stand out on this. First of all, the vocals sound so real. It's like that person is just right 3 feet in front of you singing to you. But especially female vocals, there's something about female vocals on this headphone that are just outstanding in my opinion. I've never heard a female vocal sound so real and just compared to the Valley, the vocals sit back a little bit further, and these are a little more present with this headphone. The vocals are in a little bit closer, a little more personal. As far as soundstage, I would say the soundstage, I would probably a medium size, not small, not huge, but somewhere in the middle. I would say about the same as what the Valley is now, but the Valleys I have probably have about 200 hours on them now. And at first I thought the soundstage was a little on the small side of average with the Valleys, but over time it seems that it's definitely gotten wider. I don't think the tone really changed on the Valleys as far as, burn-in time, but a couple of things I did notice with the Valley is the soundstage seems to have gotten wider on them with time. And at first there was just a slight little bit of veil in the upper mid-range on the Valley, and that has cleared up very nicely. So they improved in that way. Right now, these are already far more detailed and far better clarity than the Valley. And the soundstage is already at least as big as the Valley. So pretty decent sized soundstage on these. I haven't really heard anything with a bigger soundstage. As far as imaging, just super precise. I mean, every instrument is separated from another, and it's just so easy to just picture, where each instrument is in the soundstage. Just very precise imaging. Something that I noticed pretty quickly with these, and I listen to a lot of electronic music, especially I'm a big fan of 80s New Wave that uses a lot of synthesizers and that sort of thing. And I listen to that a lot, but I don't really use it much for reviewing headphones. I find acoustical music to be a lot better to really bring out the best in a headphone. And the first thing I noticed with these is if I listen to electronic music, they definitely sound better than anything else I've ever heard. There's no doubt about that. But it isn't overwhelming. The difference isn't huge. If with that electronic music, like I said, these are better in every way. And I would say the tone balance on these is actually similar to the Hi-Fi Man Sundara. But yes, this headphone is better in every possible way than the Sundara, but the differences aren't huge when I'm listening to electronic music. But when I go to acoustical music, all of a sudden now the difference is just way bigger. You know, I mean, just a huge difference. Just so much more detail, so much more texture to the sounds. They just do such a better job of reproducing the real instruments, you know, where I think electronic music can basically make almost any headphone sound good. Where acoustical music, it takes a far better headphone to really reproduce acoustical music in a real sounding way. Some examples that I've used would be Norah Jones sounds outstanding through these headphones. Tori Amos is a favorite of mine. And just her voice is incredible through these. And, you know, just the music just, like I said, I'm just hearing things that I've never heard before. That's why I can't stop listening to these. I want to listen to every CD I have because I'm hearing everything I listen to. I hear something new, some small detail that I might have noticed before. It's not, you know, it might be a detail that I could hear on another headphone, but it just comes through so much more clear and is much more obvious with these headphones. Just little things that were in the far background before now are up front and present and noticeable, unlike they were at any time before. Another one would be the Cranberries. They're a lot of acoustic guitars, things like that in their music, just sounds outstanding through these. Fleetwood Mac would be another example. Fleetwood Mac just sounds outstanding with these. 10,000 Maniacs, especially the Unplugged CD from MTV, just sounds incredible with these. But as much as acoustical music stands out with these, I went to another step, and I will admit I've never really been a huge fan of classical or orchestral music, but I do have a few classical CDs. So I threw in a CD by Tchaikovsky. Okay, you know, that shows you how much I listen to classical music. I'm having problems with the pronunciation. So anyway, Tchaikovsky, the Nutcracker Suite. And I was listening to this, and the first thing I noticed is I felt like I was right there in the front row. The second thing is I've never heard a headphone separate all the instruments the way this did. Just before, everything was just sort of, you know, everything just kind of came from, you know, here and here, and everything was just kind of blended together. All the instruments just kind of sounded like they were coming from the same place. And with these headphones, every single instrument I hear sounds like it's coming from a different location, and every single instrument is separate from the rest. I've never heard anything like it. I was totally blown away. And right now, what I know I need to do is expand my orchestral music collection. I was just blown away, and I switched back to some of my other headphones. I tried the Hi-Fi Man Sundara compared to these, and it's a good sounding headphone. But like I said, everything just sounded like it was coming from kind of the same location, where these just pinpointed every single instrument exactly where it was coming from. And also the Sundara, I felt like I was listening to recording, where when I put these on, I just felt like I was right there in the concert hall, sitting right in the front row. Feeling that I've never had before with headphones, anywhere close to the level of what I do with these. So anyway, this isn't a full review. It's not meant to be. It's just kind of a first impressions, and giving you a lot of details. And like I said, I plan on waiting a while to do a full review and get more into the fine details of the sound. Number one, I'm waiting to get another pair of headphones that's comparable to these to do a fair comparison. And I just need to put more time in on them. The more I listen to these, the more I'm understanding them and what the sound is all about. And the longer I listen to them, the more I'm impressed. So anyway, I'm probably going to wait a month, maybe 2 months to do a full review of these. So that's why I kind of did an expanded first impressions here for you now, because it's going to be a while before I get to the full review. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. And this once again, this is William from the Headphone Experience. And if you like this review, if it has helped you at all, make your decision, then please give me a thumbs up. And if you would, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, I'm the administrator over at the Headphone Experience on Facebook. And you're all welcome to join us over there. So I will get back to you soon and with some more reviews. And thank you for watching.